Why, hello there. Welcome back to Record-ology, everybody. So glad you could join us watching the replay. Have you hit the bell notification so you don't miss when we go live? Or maybe it just wasn't a good time. I totally get that. But regardless, thank you for being here. So glad you can make it. Let me move the microphone a little bit closer to make it sound as good as possible. So just set up today. I'm always experimenting with the setup. So I figured out the lighting was driving me crazy with the ring light, because usually you put the ring light with the camera and then you got this, psychedelic, and that's not good. People don't want to see that. So what do? So recently I was watching my favorite show live he was doing. The ring light up high, genius. So you get the light spill without the reflection. So over here and the laptop here. So when you see me pivot over here like this, I'm not ignoring you. I am just looking at the screen, comments and stuff. Speaking of comments, as you join into this, definitely let me know down in the live chat where you're watching from, what you're up to today. I've got no real major agenda. I just kind of wanted to say hi, see what you guys are up to. And also, I've got some questions I want to ask you guys. I got some questions. So things are going good here in Colorado. We've finally warmed up a bit. We're going to have a warm weekend because we've been back from Texas now for a week-ish, and it's been snowing and cold and gray and stormy, and I'm just like, I'm done with it. I'm so done with that weather. And in Colorado, the worst winter is actually the spring winter. So it can go all the way up until the middle of May here. We can get these, and these are the snowstorms. It's wet, heavy snow, the kind that people get stuck in, the kind that leaves you homebound because you can't get out. So they're nasty. Yeah, they are the nasty storms, the ones that are in the spring. The ones we get like November, December are kind of like those are just a dusting. It's actually quite often we don't even have a white Christmas around here. Alex Tech, welcome in, dude. I wanted to start doing more of these lives earlier so that my friends in the UK could join. Sorry, it's been a while since I've been commenting. I've been watching the videos, but just really busy. No, I get it, totally. I have no expectation that anybody, keeps up a regular comment thread or, frequency or whatnot. I'm just glad that you guys are here, when you can be, and just want to have fun. It's just a low-key, it's show and tell. We're just friends hanging out. Imagine we're all, hanging out on my back patio, got the barbecue going, I'm grilling up some burgers, and we're just, hey, come look at this. That's kind of what this show is designed to be about. Yeah, fresh hair. I've been freshly shorn. So as I was putting together the video of the Texas situation, the Texas trip, I was looking at me on the beach. I'm like, man, you look like a haggard bum. It is time to make some changes. So I have not gone like smooth-faced in years. It's funny because my mother-in-law, she used to hate my beard so much. Now my wife likes the beard. Otherwise I wouldn't have a beard. You know how it is. So I remember my mother-in-law would be like, what are you doing? Well, shave that off. Your wife doesn't like that. I'm like, she literally does. That, what are you talking about? So anyway, I can shave it if I want to, and not if I don't, but not really because I'm married. So everything has to kind of go through the approval. But it was time, because the hair was too long, the beard was just, there was some squirrels in there, I think. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, I've been cutting my own hair for a year now, and it probably shows. James, welcome in. Watching this while cooking dinner at 18:35. Well, I'm glad you're able to join, and I really wanted to do more of these earlier, be more cognizant of my friends in the UK. As I said in the show last night, I really want to go to the UK, so I can't upset my friends in the UK too much by doing all the lives in the middle of your night. Hey, Alexander, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Anthony says, can you do a video on shellac records and how they're made from tree sap? Very interesting stuff. It's interesting, the shellac. So we've talked about shellac 78 records. Somebody's texting me. Hold on, we've got a text coming in here. Who is it from? Oh, okay. It's an ad. I love it when they send you ads to your phone. It's like, you people leave me alone. They have to text you on top of it. back to my real friends, you guys. So here's the fun stuff. So 78s are interesting because, first of all, there's a video in my recommended video playlist that you can check out that literally shows you how they're made. It's a video from the, gosh, I want to say from the no, it would have been earlier, 30s, late 30s, early 40s. And it shows the Camden, New Jersey RCA plant and how they're made. But yeah, it's basically a mixture of minerals and excretions from the lac bug of India. So there's literally like insect part. No, well, there's probably some insect parts there, but mostly it's the excretions of the lac bug from India mixed with minerals and what. It's a very strange. Whoever thought, you know what, this mixture is almost good, but let's go to India and get some lac bug excretion and add that in as well. But that was like the quietest substance they could come up with, and that's the whole idea. When there's no modulation in the groove, when it's just a silent, empty, smooth groove, how quiet can we get that background to be? And that's why they picked that. So, and same thing with vinyl, because they realized that that was a very quiet background. So yeah, we need to do more on that. There's always more to do. There's always more to do. Also, be curious if you guys give me feedback in the comments here, or if you're watching the replay down in the comments below, about just things that you like that we've done and want to see more of. I'd love to know that. The King's Guy. My brand new record is skipping. I sent you a DM on Instagram about it. So I do have the Instagram. So we use the Instagram to promote back to the channel. So if I'm not on there responding, I don't do DMs on there. But thank you for reaching out. If you want to reach out personally, the best way is the email, Record-ology1938@gmail.com. It's in our video descriptions. It's also in our About tab. And I try to get back within 2 to 3 days on that. So if you got a specific question, that's a good way to do it. Skipping records, we've done a couple videos on skipping records, but it depends. There's a lot of factors that can go into it. If you're talking about a suitcase player, or you're talking about a all-in-one, I can actually show you, I think. Do I have that? Yeah, I happen to have one right here. So let me show you the trick with those. The light goes out. Okay, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Don't go anywhere. The power supply on this light is very trigger happy, and if you look at it wrong, it disconnects. So when I rolled my seat back, there we go. Okay, and we're back. So when I worked in television broadcast, a lot of times we would have this situation happen where the lights would blow up because we used the halogen lights, and you couldn't touch the bulbs with your bare hands. And a lot of times my technicians didn't realize that, or they just wouldn't do it, so they would handle the bulbs. And the oils from your skin would get on those bulbs, and they would literally cause the light to explode, which is always fun during the middle of a live show. Okay, this isn't actually the greatest example, but you'll get the idea. So if your record player has a mechanism that looks like this, and you've got the little cueing lever over here, there will be a little plastic or rubber shelf that supports the tone arm when you lift up that lever. And what happens is when you release the lever, it lowers the tone arm back down, but sometimes it doesn't go down all the way. So the full weight of the tone arm isn't on the record. So just take that shelf that lifts up and down and push down on it a little bit. Make sure that it's fully down and out of the way, and that will probably solve your skipping record problems. But check out our videos we've done on that topic for sure. Andy says, looking smart, Record-ology. Hi from the UK. It shows rock. It's 6:36 here in Yorkshire. Thank you so much. Thank you for being there and watching, making time. And for those of you in the US, I know that it's, a lot of us are supposed to be working right now. So I appreciate you making time on your lunch break or whatever. So glad that you are able to be here. Anthony says, awesome, I'll find that old video. Thanks. Yeah, check it out for sure. I'm at work dropping a like, sir, TGIF. Well, thank you very much, and TGIF indeed. Although, is it now? It's here in Colorado, it's almost noon, and so far, up until about 20 minutes before I started this, was going around thinking it was Saturday already, so anyway. Just glad to have you guys out there. Tell me what you're up to. What's going on? What's the fun? Got any questions for me out there? Let me know what your projects are for the weekend. For me, in addition to just doing show stuff, I've been listening to tapes lately. I've been listening to these, this Glenn Miller set. I picked these up on eBay not too long ago. They are a UK release, actually, on the Avid label. And they represent some of the most unique, it's the Good Music record company, Avid. They're the Glenn Miller military, some of the military material, which is pretty rare. When he was in the Army, he had one of the most phenomenal bands that was recorded extremely, extremely well. So a lot of people that are just like casual Glenn Miller fans, know the Civilian Band, which he had from 38 to 42. And then in the Army, he had a number of organizations. He had the full big band with strings. He had the full orchestra, strings only. He had small jazz combos. It was like an organization of musical operation that was phenomenal in scope. So they did a lot of material. And the Army recorded a lot of it. It was all never for public consumption. However, some well-intentioned individuals were able to make sure that we have copies of that stuff today. Same thing with the V-discs. And man alive, I want to get my hands on a V-disc, Glenn Miller V-disc, because the V-disc material was all supposed to be destroyed after World War II. They were specifically for the fighting men and women overseas. They were literally purpose recorded for the war effort. So you had people that were, stashing these away, and that's the only reason why we have them now. But they were supposed to be destroyed after the war. The reason why is because the artists who volunteered their time to make these recordings, and most of them are purpose recorded, so they're unique versions, and that's why one reason why they're desirable. Some did reuse studio commercial releases, but most of them utilized, unique recordings and had special messages and stuff. But yeah, they're super, super cool, and I would love to get my hands on them. I mean, just amazing stuff. So I don't know, I'm on a tangent there, but I've been listening to, this is some of the material from that band, and one of the best, my first Glenn Miller album was a CD, and it was Glenn Miller, The Secret Broadcasts, and that is a great starting point. If you're interested in Glenn Miller and want to just jump to the best of the best, look at Glenn Miller, Secret Broadcasts, and Glenn Miller Lost Recordings. Those two releases, that's all you need to know right there. Yeah, cassette. I picked up a set of these on eBay some time ago. I've been buying old records. Any tips? Why, yes. You've come to the right place. So, thank you, by the way, for the question. Tips for buying old records. It depends on what you want. For me, I like I said, Glenn Miller. I like big band. I like 60s stuff. I like vintage stuff. So I can find a lot of what I want at a thrift store. And a lot of people that only want pop, new records, rock and roll, would go to a thrift store, and to them that would all be junk because there's usually nothing like that there. If you like the kind of material that they have in thrift stores, then it's a gold mine. You go and check it once a week if you have a local thrift store or charity shop, and you can find who knows, because people are donating to those shops on a daily. I found a lot of Glenn Miller things I really like. One Stormy Night is another personal favorite. And you can discover new stuff too. And if you want to collect just interesting historic records, I picked up a lot of old, just weird stuff for the show there that I may not want from a music standpoint or a listening standpoint, but from a historic or I want to learn about this standpoint or for the show, it makes a lot of sense. So that's one recommendation. Antique stores for me and my genres of music that I like is a gold mine as well. The problem is that there is a lot of overpricing going on in that world. People in antique stores, a lot of times, are selling records they're not familiar with records and think they're worth way more than they are. So you'll see records that should be $2 or $3 being sold for $20. It's just like, what? So sometimes you'll find good deals there. I would say it's about 50-50. So I would definitely check out antique stores, Sometimes you'll find dollar bin records there too. Also, for people that do want rock music and more modern stuff, certainly into the 80s and even 90s, do go to the antique stores. You may not even have thought to go there, but there is often record sellers there that'll set up a booth and operate it as a miniature record shop. And that's really cool because I've seen a lot of rock and roll at antique stores, a lot of modern stuff. I've seen a lot of DJ records. If you want DJ singles, like from the 80s and 90s, they have, there must be a surplus in this country of epic proportions, because you'll go to like Second and Charles, which is a store, if you have that, and they will have, I think Books A Million is another brand of theirs. They will have dozens of boxes full of these old radio things. They're rap, they're rock, they're all kinds of stuff from 80s and 90s radio. So check that out. If you know a specific title that you want, you're probably more likely to find it on eBay. It's kind of hit or miss. Sometimes they come warped or damaged, and Discogs as well. Also, don't overlook the obvious too. Look in your own basement. I mean, if your parents had records, look there. If you just want to get some records and you're not even that choosy on what kind of records, then just keep your options open, because sometimes they'll turn up more than you can imagine. When I started this channel in 2017, I went out and got my first record. Now, I had records as a kid, but I'm talking as an adult. And I was like, well, I only have one record. Where do I start? Well, then I found out that in our own basement, boxes that we had been moving because we were caretaking an elderly relative, not even knowing what was in it, there was a treasure trove of records in my own basement. I found big band music. I found all kinds of stuff. I found everything from like 70s rock all the way up to anything else that I like, and hundreds of things. And we still will find a box that'll have records in it. And I know that's not the case for everybody, which is a very strange thing that I started this channel and then all of a sudden records started showing up. But keep your eyes open. That would be my goal. Do you collect any post-war big band records? Great question. I do. I like a lot of big band material. Glenn Miller, post-World War II. Do I still have the picture up? There's a Ray Anthony right there. He's a post. That's a post. This is Jerry Gray. This is post-World War II. So yeah, I do. I like the alumni. A lot of them went to do their own thing after they were in the Glenn Miller Orchestra. Bobby Hackett, Ray Anthony, Billy May, of course, was a huge name. A lot of those guys went into either starting their own bands, or they became studio session musicians, and a lot of them were, in the band with Nelson Riddle and others backing up Frank Sinatra. So he definitely advanced in that regard. But yeah, I do like that. The only kind of big band that I don't like as much is the super modern. I don't know what you'd call it, just like modern big band. And I don't mean like the new Glenn Miller Orchestra led by Nick Hilscher, who I've got their picture up there. I love that stuff. The new Glenn Miller band, the new, anything interesting going on? We good?
I was just going to say that you might want to explain what happened to Teespring.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
I did see one of your people.
Okay, the Teespring thing. I need to talk about that, or Spring as it's called. I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, I do like the modern big bands that play the old big band stuff. I just don't like the super modern, we're going to reinvent big band kind of big bands as much. Checking out Cy Zentner, excellent 60s. Okay, cool. I'll check that out for sure. Speaking of Glenn Miller, I found a few 45s from an album that one of his live performances. The only thing is RCA only let Midnight Serenade play for 10 seconds on that song. Oh, was it like on the record? Was it, maybe it was used as an intro, because that was their theme song. So a lot of times they would use that to go in, and they would bump into their radio shows with that. I have a homemade record from D-Day. What? That's family singing God Bless America. Wow, that is cool. Good evening from a subscriber in Geneva, Switzerland. Welcome. That is so awesome. You guys are so cool. I love the fact that people are watching from all over. I'm very blessed. Jeremy Hobbs, welcome in. Glad to have you all here. Just chilling out, just having fun. Got no real agenda here. I do want to touch base, though. My wife just reminded me about the Teespring, the store that we have. So for some reason, and somebody had asked recently about this, that about the Teespring, which is the backbone store that supports our store tab and the merchandise shelf where you can go and buy record. By the way, have you bought your Record-ology shirts yet? I mean, come on, we got a lot of cool stuff, not just shirts. But anyway, so what happens is you have to keep that account up and you have to keep them synced. And for some reason, the sync broke down and Teespring deleted all of our merchandise. So I was talking to Teespring this week. I'm like, what are you guys doing? And it turns out it was some kind of technical glitch. So they're in the process of getting that back up and rolling. I still have to go in there and reactivate the products. So the store should become active again shortly. And I apologize for anybody who wanted to go in there and support the channel and wasn't able to. Thank you for that. Also, a huge thank you to Steve and others who have donated through our Buy Me a Coffee thing. In the video descriptions, we have a link there. And that's just literally where you guys can help support the channel. And that helps me be able to afford to go buy record players and things to review, keeping it interesting. Because, you know, a daily show, it's a constant conversation in this household. You know, what are we going to do next? What's next? What is there to review? Speaking of that, I do have something I'm excited to share with you in the near future. I will say this: an organization that we have not had the opportunity to work with before. No, that's not true, because we've worked with this organization. A product line that we have not been able to review before is now going to be working with us. So we're going to review something you guys have been asking for, a very popular turntable brand. There's another hint, it's a record player, and I think you guys are going to like them. I'm excited because I've never touched one of this brand of turntable before, and they're extremely popular. Good, moderate price point, and something that, you know, people will enjoy, I hope. Let's see here. The D-Day record came with a few others from the same people, other takes of God Bless America from 42, some messages to family, etc. They all came with my 1947 portable home record cutter. That is awesome. Tell you what, if you haven't done so already, you should put up some videos on YouTube, even if you don't have a channel, just your own personal YouTube. I would love to hear that if you can make that happen. I'm not giving away anything, Jeremy. You're going to have to wait. But I appreciate the guesses. There's some. Are we going to run out of companies at some point where, you know, I can't do that anymore, where it's like, well, the only company you haven't reviewed is XYZ. Whitney says, hello, what record player do you recommend for a beginner? I was thinking of getting a Sony Bluetooth stereo turntable. Well, first of all, welcome and thank you for the question. We did a video recently on record players for beginners, or Beginner's Guide to Vinyl, I think is what it's called, and we have a whole playlist of, you know, getting started in beginner's guides. So check those out for sure. My go-to answer for a beginner turntable, my #1 recommendation, is an Audio-Technica LP60X, and there are a few in that series. They make like a red one, a black one, a gunmetal gray one. The thing is, you need to be aware it doesn't have speakers. Like these, which have a built-in amp. I don't have over here as a receiver because I don't need it. System that has an aux input, that works. Or if you just want to use a sound bar, Bluetooth speaker, that works as well. But you have to have some sort of speaker system. If you want to take it a step further and you want a DJ turntable, something that has, you know, pitch control, you know, 78 RPM speed, strobe light, and all these things, you want to fiddle with a manual turntable experience, then go with the LP120X USB, which reminds me of something else I wanted to talk to you guys about. The LP60X, by the way, is fully automatic. And the more I have learned about turntables, then the more I've experienced them, the more I come back to realize that the LP60X is a fantastic deal. You get a lot for that. The downside to this, the LP60, only downside is that it's a fixed cartridge. You can't upgrade the cartridge, which is fine because it's got a good one on there. It's got an AT3600L, which is a very good basic entry-level cartridge. There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. And you can replace the stylus, but you can't upgrade the cartridge. If you want that automatic functionality and you still want to be able to upgrade the cartridge, you want to put a new head shell on, you want to adjust the counterbalance, then the LP3 is a great turntable as well. All of those are going to require speakers because they are, audio components. They're not novelty products. If you just want a novelty item, all the suitcase players are pretty much the same level as each other, and there's not a huge difference, although they're not all the same company. And no, Crosley doesn't make any of them. Everybody always thinks Crosley's trying to sneak in there. That's just a Crosley Cruiser undercover. They don't make anything. And neither actually does Audio-Technica, if you want to know the truth. All of their turntables are third-party branded. And actually, a lot of the Audio-Technica products use the same company, hand-pinned turntables that Crosley uses, like a Crosley C100, C200, made by the same company that makes the LP60, LP3, LP120. That brings me to a point I did want to bring up really quickly here. So and I may do a show about this, but there is a major problem going on right now in the consumer electronics space, and specifically record players and whatnot. And it has to do with product availability. If you notice, if you go on Amazon right now, the prices for an LP60 or an LP120 are not what they used to be. They're really high. And it basically has to do with the fact that the parts are hard to come by right now. There is a supply chain issue, a shortage of parts coming in from China and their suppliers and whatnot. And as you can imagine, there's some sort of global thing going on that's probably impacting that. But supply is short. So when you see on Amazon, you see, oh my gosh, the LP120, they don't make it anymore. That does, just because it's not on there or it's not available, it just means they're out of stock. And that's what's happening. They can't keep up to stock, which makes it fun for us because if you need to buy a record player right now, you're probably going to pay more than you should, honestly, which is unfortunate. I haven't seen it impact the novelty stuff, the super low end suitcase players, all-in-one novelty things, as much as I've seen it impact the LP120s, the LP60s, and whatnot. Okay, there is that. So yeah, I may do a show about that. In fact, I was talking to Grado earlier, and we've been corresponding on a few projects we're working on. And they said, you really ought to do a show about that because right now there's a major supply chain, even into them being able to put together their cartridges. I have put videos on records. I also reviewed the record after they came in. It's the same one that Andy from Shawshank Redemption used to play. Cool. The cartridge is a good point. A friend of mine got the Sony Bluetooth, which is a great cartridge. Is that one the automatic one? Because that automatic mechanism that's been around for 25 years, which I think it's great. It's pretty common that it uses that static cartridge, which is fine. I mean, it's a fine thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't notice, again, back to the law of diminishing returns. Actually, no, this would be the reverse of the law of diminishing returns. I was going to say, I don't hear a difference between the AT3600L versus, say, a $60 or $70 cartridge. But I do hear a difference once I get up to the Grado Gold Prestige 2. Whitney, thank you so much. Welcome, and definitely check out those videos because we've talked about a lot of stuff. Check out, if you go to our playlist, hit subscribe, playlists, and then you'll see a beginner's guide or a beginner's playlist thing. I need to rename that so it makes more sense, but you'll see what I mean. Sony is a more premium looking version of the LP60. Yeah, I agree. And Sony, I haven't touched the Sony turntable. I really haven't. Okay, guys, I think that's about it for me. If you guys have any questions or anything you want to bring up, let me know. Boy, that was the most conference call sounding way to end a live. Well, that's going to do it for me. Does anybody else have anything they want to bring up before we close it out? I will send out the meeting minutes here. Sorry. Sometimes it bleeds over. But I just want to thank you guys so much for being there. If you're new, welcome in. If you're not new, thank you for making the time continuously for us. We really appreciate it. If you're watching the replay, definitely don't miss out on our lives in the future. We'd love to have you. Try doing them at different times throughout the day so that different folks can join. Oh, Miranda says, good afternoon. I just got here, but want to say I really enjoy your channel. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being there. That's great. And, you know, we got a lot of videos out there. So if you want to entertain yourself, check out what we've got out there. We just love to have you here, and not just in lives, but watching the shows. I get all of the thing I want to put out there too is that a lot of people think that the older videos, like somehow I don't see your involvement or your comments on those as much, but I do. If you comment on my first video versus yesterday's video, I see those comments and engaged in that comment thread actively. So feel free to jump into any of our videos. They're all timeless in the sense that, you know, they apply to today. So don't hesitate. I know sometimes it's kind of like, oh, this is a 4-year-old video. I don't want to watch that. But really, ours are designed to be timeless. So hopefully you can find something there that'll entertain you and educate, and hopefully you can educate me, because I learn more from you guys than I'm able to help others learn. Great talking to you. Love your channel, and have a great weekend. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. So we'll say goodbye for now, but only for now, because we're going to have a show later tonight. So happy record hunting, guys. We will see you tomorrow.